All right. So again, my name is Andrew Bottom. I am the Global Internship Program Manager from the International Education Office here on campus. I'm here with my colleagues Magda Yamamoto and Sandy Valdivieso from the International Institute. They'll be on with me at the very end to assist with any questions you might have, specifically those relating to your major or minor. So today we again are going to talk about the UCLA Global Internship Program. We'll talk first about a subject that's on everyone's minds, COVID-19, discuss a little bit about that and how it plays into study abroad. We'll talk about why you might want to think about interning abroad. We'll do a general program overview of the Global Internship Program, talk about the application, selection, and placement process, discuss the different locations, both in person and virtually, that you could participate in, and then we'll discuss the different program costs and funding options. So without further ado, COVID-19 and study abroad. So obviously it's a question on everyone's minds. And so currently for summer 2021, all of the programs for the Global Internship Program are scheduled to run. Obviously, it's a situation we're currently monitoring. It's something that's very fluid. And so, we will take into consideration, the timelines of students as, if there's a reason that we are unable to, unfortunately, do an in-person program and have to cancel in the future due to COVID-19, we'll be considerate of your timelines, making sure to do so as early as possible so that you have the opportunity to, change your plans if need be. We are also offering virtual internship opportunities that you can enroll in. So whether you decide to enroll in a virtual opportunity initially, or whether an in-person program is unable to run in the future due to COVID-19, you'll have the opportunity to switch to a virtual program should that be the case. Just like this entire year, I think you all are getting used to being flexible and patient. And so we just ask for that as well. We're doing our best to make sure that we have opportunities available to UCLA students. But due to the circumstances, it is obviously something that is out of our hands. And so we're doing our best to create opportunities. But if something does come up, we just hope that you can have flexibility and patience with us. One big thing that we do want to note, though, is if you do plan to study abroad this upcoming summer and you need to renew or apply for a passport, we ask that you do that as soon as possible. Passports normally take about 6 to 8 weeks to apply for or to renew, but due to a backlog from COVID-19 and offices just having less staff members, there's kind of a backlog there now. And so the processing timeline is definitely longer. And so we encourage students who are planning to study abroad this upcoming year to apply for their passport or to renew it if they need to as soon as possible. So why might you want to intern abroad? So while working at the International Education Office, prior to this program being conceived, we always got a lot of questions from students who really wanted to have a practical experience in the workforce, prior to leaving UCLA, specifically a practical experience within their major or their minor, in their kind of career field. And so we created this program really to do just that. So, it's an opportunity to have some practical experience before you leave UCLA, specifically international job experience, increase your industry knowledge of whatever career field or career path you're looking to go into, specifically because you're going to be in a new cultural environment and work environment, strengthening that, communication and team building and adaptability skills, being able to network both with your other interns that are abroad, but also your colleagues within your workplace that you're at. Certain things like expanding your worldview, discovering new culture, experiencing new culture firsthand. In this program, you also make academic progress. You can towards your major or minor, and we'll discuss that in a little bit. And then, of course, just the opportunity to travel and kind of boost your independence and confidence for going abroad. So the macro-level overview of the Global Internship Program is as follows. So all of the programs occur in the summer only, from about mid-June to mid-August. The internship itself is approximately 8 weeks long, and then you follow the 10-week online course schedule for summer session A for the coursework. So 8 weeks of internship approximately. I think Dublin's a little bit less, a little over 7, but you follow the 10-week courses for summer session A. You're required to take at least one course, so you'll have at least 4 units, but there's the opportunity to take 8 units of coursework. These are academic internships, so they are unpaid. And again, we have in-country internships and virtual options. For the in-country internships, you'll work approximately 32 to 40 hours per week. For the virtual internships, you'll be interning from 20 to 30 hours per week. So a little less time in the internship, but more flexibility, especially if you happen to be working another job at home or taking other classes on campus. Eligibility criteria. So you must be a UCLA undergraduate student. You must have a minimum of 90 units completed by this upcoming spring 2021. That can include AP or transfer credit. Having a cumulative GPA of a 3.0 or above. If you're a transfer student, it's okay if you don't yet have a GPA at UCLA because you just started your fall quarter, but we will look at kind of your GPA, making sure it's cumulative of a 3.0 or above moving forward, and that you did well from your prior transcript that you transferred in. Good academic standing. And then in the case of London, they do have a visa restriction of ages 18 to 29 just due to the visa. So that is one restriction for the eligibility for London, but we don't have an age restriction for the other locations. As far as academics, the coursework will be done from June 21st through August 27th. Again, that 10-week schedule for session A. The online coursework will consist of the International Area Studies 195 CE internship course, which is mandatory for all students to take. So that's 4 units. And then for students who are interested in getting additional units, so a total of 8 units, you can take the Community Engagement and Social Change 130 course. That course focuses on intercultural communication in the global workplace. So really hones in on intercultural communication theory and putting that into practice, with your global internship. Students who are enrolled in 8 units during the program for the in-person program will only intern for 4 days per week. So I didn't put that there on the slide, but that's specifically for the in-person program. Students who are enrolled in 8 units are eligible for financial aid, whether you're in person or virtual. So just note that if you would like to be eligible for financial aid, which we'll talk about at the end of the presentation, you will want to be enrolled in both the courses. So the enrollment period has already begun. So we opened enrollment on November 2nd. We're currently in what's called the priority enrollment period, which means from now until December 13th, students who apply will be looked at as the initial pool of applicants. And so in some of our locations, if there are specifically limited opportunities, this gives you the best opportunity to be selected for the program. So it is a competitive program. So we definitely encourage you, if you're interested and you'd like to do it, to apply before December 13th. After December 13th, you can still apply for the program up till February 12th for in-person or the 26th for virtual. At that point, we will basically take students on a rolling basis in a sense. So as long as you meet the eligibility criteria, and then as long as you pass, we'll basically look at your application and make sure that you're a good fit for the internship opportunities at that specific location, depending on your experience, your career interests, your goals. Then we'll place students on a rolling basis. So again, if you are interested and that, I would encourage you to apply during the priority enrollment period. But if you don't quite know yet, you can still apply afterwards. Our website to look at internships is ieo.ucla.edu/global internships. And you can find all what we're calling the global affairs internships there. Global affairs basically includes all of the International Institute majors and minors. So the selection and placement process. So when you're thinking about doing your application and preparing it, there's a couple things you want to think about before you actually apply, because the application itself doesn't allow you to save it prior to submitting. So the first thing is you want to update your current resume. So make sure you have it updated, spell checked, formatted prior to submitting. At the end of your application, you'll be asked to submit it. The second thing you'll want to get prepared prior to enrolling in the program is these motivation to enroll questionnaires. So these questions are actually posted on each of the program pages. So when you're looking at one of the specific programs, you can look at these questions there and help prepare your answers. But basically, when you're in the application at the very end, we'll ask that you submit your answers to these 4 questions. And so I recommend you put some thought into them, that you prepare in advance in a Word document what you're planning to submit. And so these questions go over kind of just your general background and why you're interested in the program itself, why you selected a specific location of interest, and then talks more about your career goals and why this experience is really going to help you reach those career goals. And then lastly, why you think you'd be a strong candidate to be selected for the program. All right, so the selection process itself. Applying for the program via the UCLA Global Internship portal, you'll go again to the website link that we had. So ieo.ucla.edu/global internships. Then you'll submit your application. And after submitting your application, I'll take an initial review of it, making sure that you meet all of the eligibility criteria. If you meet those eligibility criteria, you'll get another follow-up email that will basically get you in touch with one of our partner organizations for an advising call. So one of those advising calls, what they include is basically one of the folks in one of our partner organizations who's on the ground in the city that you're planning to do your internship, whether virtually or in person. On this call, they'll just talk to you a little bit more about why you're interested, about some of your experiences, about your career interests, what specifically you're looking to do while you're there. And it'll be an opportunity for them just to see whether your interests and your experience would be a good match for the eligible internship opportunities. It's also an opportunity for you to ask them questions. So if you have questions about, hey, I really want to do this, is it possible? Or I don't, quite understand, what life is going to be like, in Colombia, in Bogota or Medellin. They're there to kind of give you a little bit more information about what the experience will be like. So it's a good opportunity. It's not necessarily like an interview, but I would take it seriously as an advising session. And it's a good opportunity to really learn more in depth about the program, make sure it's the right fit for you. And then for our in-country partners, it's the opportunity for them to make sure that you're a great candidate, for placement in the country. Our partner organizations, what they basically do is they're basically your point of contact while you're in the country. So they help find, first of all, your internship placement. So, they have a network of organizations and companies they work with, and they do this with students all over the US and around the world, where they'll help basically through their network find a good placement for you. They'll also be there to give you an orientation when you arrive. They prepare your housing. They provide social activities when you're there. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on call for emergencies. So they're really your main contact while you're in person on site. Same thing with the virtual programs. Obviously they're not on site, but they're there and your main contact if you have any issues, with let's say your internship placement with the manager. They'll do some social connection workshops and professional development workshops for you, even if you're virtual, so you have an opportunity to connect with other students and to also, improve your professional development. If you are accepted into the program, so whether you apply during the priority enrollment or after the priority enrollment, then you're able to, at that point, you'll get an acceptance email, and then you'll be able to put down your $200 deposit for the program. So once you put down your deposit for the program, you're basically solidified a spot at that point. And so we do say it's a non-refundable deposit. A lot of students are asking, what if a program, due to COVID, were to get canceled? If that was the case and we decided to cancel the program, we would return your deposit if we decided on our end to cancel a program from UCLA's point of view. Otherwise, you put down your deposit and then you're set up for the program. And so what will then happen next is we'll stay in touch with you until the enrollment deadline in February, at which point you'll be asked prior to the enrollment deadline to either pay the remaining balance of the program fee or to enroll and fill out your financial aid application form, which will let us know that you plan to use financial aid to pay the program fees. And then you'll meet with our partner organization a second time. And so what happens at the second second advising appointment, I guess, is that they'll go more in depth with you about really what you're searching for. They might ask you to revise your resume or to write a cover letter. They're really just going to hone in more intently on specific opportunities for you. And so after this more in-depth advising appointment, they will start reaching out to prospective internship site managers so that they will be able to find a good internship placement for you. And so they will set up an interview with an internship site they think is a good match. It will be like probably most likely a video interview. You'll do the interview with the prospective internship site manager. And if it's a good match for you and a good match for the site manager, then you'll sign your agreement form and you'll be set for an internship. If it really was not at all what you were expecting or looking for, or on the site manager side, if they're like, oh, we think you're looking for a student with a little more experience in XYZ, then what will happen is our partner organization will then continue searching for another internship placement for you and setting up follow-up interviews. So generally, it's not that you're going through a ton of interviews. Usually through those advising calls with our site partner, on-site partners, they're able to find, really hone in on what would be a good match for you in advance. And usually these interviews tend to, be able to do one interview, and as long as, it goes well, be able to place you. But in some cases, it could either not be a good match for you or not a good match for the site manager, in which case they continue to find additional placement opportunities. So the locations, where are we going to go? That's probably on everyone's mind. So for the in-person locations, we have 4 in-person locations. The first one is Colombia, where you could be placed in either Bogota or Medellin. So you won't be placed in both, but our partners work in both cities. And so this program is June 19th through August 14th. Most all these locations have similar types of placements. So for the global health minors, government and policy sort of placements, a lot of placements with NGOs and nonprofits or think tanks. So specifically in Colombia, they do have a lot of placements with a focus in human rights and social justice. I've noticed community development, international development. So if you go to any of our web pages, most of them do have the opportunity to click on some sample internship descriptions, and you can kind of look at more in depth about what those internships might be like. And so these aren't internships that we are promising that you'll get necessarily, but there's some examples of what students have done in the past, and might give you an idea of some interests you might have. Doesn't mean if you have a totally different interest that they don't have it, but it will give you an opportunity just to kind of look through and see if there's some things that may be interesting to you. Specifically in that advising call, that first advising call, is a good opportunity to mention, what you really want to do. And if you see something already, you could say, oh, I want something similar to this. And if you don't see something, presented, don't worry. It doesn't mean they don't have it. We're only giving, 5 or 6 ideas just on the website as examples. In Dublin, Ireland, this is from June 16th to August 7th is the in-person program. Similarly, global health, they have some more specific governmental placements, law and politics, NGOs, nonprofits. So interning with member of parliament, education minister. They have some nonprofits with mental health and addiction, HIV and AIDS, refugee resettlement in Ireland. So Dublin's another option. Our third option is Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. So this one is, I guess, our latest starting program, June 24th through August 18th. So again, global health, they have some embassies and consulates, some opportunities, law, NGOs, nonprofits. So some example, they have an anti-human trafficking organization we work with, the British and I believe the Canadian Chamber of Commerce they work with. There's some community development opportunities. So again, just one example. And our last location is London, UK. So this is June 21st through August 14th. And so again, similar placement opportunities, some examples of political parties, think tanks, community development, international development opportunities. So, hoping that, each of these locations may have different strengths in a little different areas, but that they'll find opportunities for you. All of the locations will have opportunities in English if you know the local language. So if you know Vietnamese or Spanish, of course, if you speak it, at a high level, either not necessarily fluent, well, it could be fluent, or if you speak, just at a high level, you might be able to get a placement within the native language of the host country. But if you don't speak Spanish, you don't speak Vietnamese, don't worry. There's still, they mostly place students in English speaking opportunities. But obviously a great way to improve your language skills if you do speak those languages. Um, Additionally, we do have virtual internships. So again, these are opportunities you can enroll in from the beginning if you already know that you don't plan to travel abroad, but do want to enroll in an internship opportunity for this upcoming summer. Or in the case of enrolling in an in-person internship, if for some reason we do have to cancel a location, we will give you the opportunity to switch to a virtual internship. You won't be required to do that, but we'll give you the opportunity to do that if you wish to do so. So the way that we do virtual, the dates are all on June 21st to August 13th. We've broken down the virtual opportunities by, I guess, continent in a sense. So we have some in Africa, Australia, Asia, North America, and South America. So we have different partners we work with in different continents. And so depending on the location you're planning to do your virtual internship will depend on which partner we're working with. A couple quick notes to make note of right now. We do have some really great global health opportunities with COVID and HIV in South Africa and Cape Town with a partner there, an epidemiologist. And so if you're with Global Health, that might be an opportunity for a virtual internship you might be interested in doing. We also have an info session for our opportunities in Argentina and Uruguay tomorrow evening that I'll be working with our partners there, and they'll be leading the session. And so it's a great opportunity if you're interested in a virtual internship in South America and in Argentina or Uruguay to join that session. It's located on our website under our calendar, so you can sign up and enroll there. Similar career fields and sectors. If you are doing an internship, let's say in Colombia or in Dublin, and you're planning to do in person, those can translate a lot of those to virtual. But if you are doing virtual, there's technically more locations, I guess, that you could technically be placed in just because of the nature of the internship is virtual. The hours are a little bit less, so 20 to 30 hours per week gives you a little bit more flexibility working from home with that. So if you are working at a job or taking, courses or, just have other responsibilities and can't do a full-time internship, gives you a little bit more flexibility. Program costs and funding. So with the program costs, you can see the 4 in-person programs listed here. So at the more affordable end, we have Bogota and Medellin in Colombia, kind of on our way up to London. So we have, you can see between the 4 units and the 8 units, the cost differential, and that is really just based on the summer sessions 279 per unit cost. And so everything is really the same except for those, the different unit costs. When you look at the program fee itself, that includes your housing, it includes your tuition, includes your health insurance. It includes the 24-hour, I guess, safety of having our partners there on the ground, the internship placement, social activities. And so that's all inclusive together in that program fee. And that's what you would end up paying UCLA on your Bruin bill. And then additionally, we have things such as your airfare, your meals and incidentals, transportation, visa fees, those are additional. And so those sort of costs are all estimates here. So for instance, the airfare, I put down $800 for Colombia. Most likely it's going to be cheaper than that, but we tend to, I guess, estimate on the high side a little bit just for financial aid purposes, especially if you're buying a ticket last minute. So Colombia, I would say tickets are usually around $500 to $600, but we inflate those just a little bit so that you make sure you have enough funding when you go abroad. Meals and incidentals are really dependent, of course, on how you decide to have your own experience. So if you're planning to eat out a lot and to spend a lot of money, doing other adventures and trips, it's going to be a lot more money. If you're planning to cook at home mostly, or if even just in Colombia, say in Vietnam, it tends to be more affordable to eat out versus in London or in Ireland, you might end up spending, a lot less money, on your meals and incidentals. So those are all estimates. Everyone's going to have their own spending habits, but it gives you just a general idea of what you might spend. And then for the virtual programs, most all of them are the same cost. So the 4 units and the 8 units you can see there. The only difference is that Colombia, our partners there, are just a little bit more affordable. And so they actually have a cheaper price. So obviously, there's no airfare, there's no passport, no visa, no meals and incidentals. So specifically for the virtual opportunities, it's a great opportunity as well if you are unable to travel due to immigration status. It's a great opportunity to still conduct a global internship, even though you'd be here in the US. So for financial aid, you can apply for financial aid for these programs. And before I go to this slide, I want to go back real quick to show you. Financial aid is going to take into consideration this entire cost. So you see the totals that are listed below. It will take into consideration both the program fee as well as your airfare, your meals and incidentals, everything. And so we'll take those into consideration when they provide you with a financial aid package. So the idea is that your full cost of the program would be covered and you shouldn't have any issues once you go abroad. So for financial aid, you could have, it could be in the form of grants, scholarships, or loans. If you're doing this program, which takes place in the summer, you will need to apply for your FAFSA or DREAM Act by the 2021-2022 deadline, which I believe is early March. And then you'll need to complete the Global Internship Financial Aid forms. So there will be basically two forms you have to complete. One form you'll do right before the February deadline, which is just basically a form agreeing to use financial aid for paying for your program. And then I believe it's in about April, financial aid office will open up the Global Internship Financial Aid application, and you'll complete that form online. It's pretty simple, but you'll complete it online, which will get you eligible for financial aid. There will be financial aid info sessions that we'll host. Normally we do one in December, and then we usually do them in January and February. I don't know of any that are scheduled quite yet, but we will definitely have those for you, and I will send out the information to students who are enrolled so that you can attend one of those sessions. It is mandatory if you are planning to use financial aid. And again, you must be enrolled in both courses, so 8 units in order to be eligible for financial aid. Additionally, and one thing with financial aid, so in the summertime, which is true for any program, whether it's global internships or another study abroad program or even to study on campus, the funding is a little bit more loan heavy in the summer, mainly because certain grants aren't eligible. So the Pell Grant and the university grant are offered during the summertime if you're eligible, but the Cal Grant unfortunately is not. So just take that into consideration. If you are planning to use financial aid, we just like to be honest and let you know that you will definitely have a loan component to that. And so just plan to be able to take out loans for that. So usually those loans come in the form of Parent Plus or private loans, depending on your own situation and status. But just something to consider going as you plan to apply for your aid. So scholarships. So we do have some scholarships available for these programs. Some of the sample scholarships that we provide out of our office or out of the Int'l Institute include first the Global Internship Program Scholarship, which offers awards of $2,500. The Kramer and Siebert Scholarship, which offers grants of $1,000. The UK scholarship, which for students studying in this case in London, would be $1,500, and the Wang Middle Income Scholarship, which is what for students who are considered middle income based on your FAFSA, $2,000. So all of these scholarships are right here. You can see at our website at ieo.ucla.edu/scholarships. There's also a webinar that we did during our Global Learning Opportunities Week that talks a little bit more in depth about the actual application process for these scholarships. So if you look at this web link below, ieo.ucla.edu/glow, if you go to our on-demand section on the website, you can look at the scholarships video, which talks just in general about scholarship opportunities and the application process and kind of learning a little bit more about that. It's a pre-recorded webinar. As far as eligibility for these 4 scholarships, the Global Internship Scholarship is really anyone who's applying for financial aid and who meets the eligibility requirements of the program. You can apply. I highly suggest you apply for it. These are specifically for in-person. As of now is this $2,500. We may have some offerings for virtual. Those haven't yet been decided, but we'll update it on our website. The Kramer and Siebert Scholarship, that's offered by the Int'l Institute. And so again, those are for $1,000 for students doing a internship over the summer, but priority given to an international global internship. And then I already talked about the UK and the Wing middle income scholarships. Some additional scholarships that are national. One in particular that would be of interest to many students possibly is the Gilman International Scholarship. That is for any Pell Grant recipients, and that's for between $2,500 and $5,000. It's for both virtual or in-person opportunities. If you are a Pell Grant recipient, I highly, highly, highly suggest that you apply for the scholarship. Even though it's a nationwide scholarship, a quarter of students nationwide actually receive it. And I would say, just from my own experience working at UCLA, I feel like UCLA students actually tend to get it at a higher percentage than nationwide. So would definitely suggest you applying for it. There's a project you have to do at the end of the program in order to fulfill the requirements of the scholarship. But we've definitely had a lot of students who have received that scholarship each year. So definitely encourage you to apply for it. Additionally, we have the Diversity Abroad Scholarship Database on our website, which talks about or has different, you can search for different opportunities based on your, identities, your career fields, experience that might apply to you. So it really depends on a lot of different factors, but it's a database to help you search out scholarship opportunities nationwide that you may be eligible for. So definitely encourage you to look for scholarship opportunities to apply. I would say in general, a lot of times students think that, I feel like these scholarships, the ones specifically through our office, tend to be under applied to. So definitely, if you meet the eligibility criteria, apply, because nothing is better than free money. So again, my name is Andrew. You can reach me at any time via email at abottom@ieo.ucla.edu, and we can communicate over email or do a one-on-one Zoom meeting if you have any specific questions regarding the program. Always happy to talk with you more and help you throughout your journey. So without further ado, that's my presentation itself. I'll leave up the contact information for now. I'll invite Magda and Sandy to come back. And if you have any questions at all about the program, about how the credits apply to your major or minor, so the 195 CE course, and maybe Sandy and Magda, you could actually talk about that, because I actually didn't talk much about it. But how does the International Area Studies 185 CE apply to the different majors and minors through the Int'l Institute?
So I can speak about the International Development Studies and Global Studies majors. So for IDS, if you take the course, you can apply it towards the disciplinary or the regional requirement. And this will have to be petitioned. So it's based on the paper that you write for the class. But generally, if we work with you from the beginning of the class to make sure that the topic is under the scope of ideas, students should be able to get this approved for either regional or disciplinary. And for global studies, we count this course also by petition, and it could be for any of the electives, markets, governance, or culture, based on the paper by petition.
And I'm the advisor for the global health minor. So again, if students, same as with IDS or global studies, if a student takes an internship course that is basically has a global health focus, they can, after they write a paper, that the course can be applied to the minor based on that paper, and the chair, the paper will have to be submitted, and the chair has to evaluate the paper. And same with international area studies, which includes Asian studies, European studies, Latin American studies, African Middle Eastern studies. We will work with you on how the paper should be framed so that internship course and the paper can be applied to the major or a minor.
All right, so just we have a question here. So is there a possibility to do this program the summer after senior year? So yes, there's a possibility to do this the summer after your senior year. So if you, I'm assuming this question is in reference to if you're graduating this upcoming spring. So if you are graduating spring 2021, you can extend your graduation deadline so that you would graduate in the summer. And then you could do this program. It also provides you eligibility to receive financial aid should you need financial aid, but you would still need to complete then your FAFSA for the 21-22 academic year. Any other questions?
So the question that about the summer says, I'm a global studies major, but I have to take summer global course during junior and senior. I'm not sure if you're saying if you want to substitute this for the travel study requirement, or if you want to do it in addition to the travel study requirement. So global studies majors are required to do one of our travel study programs in New York or Paris or The Hague. If you want to replace it with this, you will have to petition. This is not approved to replace for the required travel study that you need to do during your junior year.
Any other questions? We have a raised hand. Okay, let's see. Oh, we have a couple more coming in.
I think, Andrew, there is a question to me about global health. I see a student is currently in IDS 1 and he wants to apply to the global health requirement. Yes, you can do it. Send us an email. I mean, me.
And then this might be going for you, Sandy, about the travel study requirement.
I have a travel study requirement and I want to do both. So I was thinking doing the travel study summer between junior and senior, this program. Yes, perfect. You can do that. You can do both programs. The requirement between junior and senior, and this internship program your senior year.
Unfortunately, we had a couple raised hands. Unfortunately, oh, I can actually, if you'd like to talk, I can allow you to talk, Maria. I think there's a audio question. Okay, Maria, you should be allowed to talk.
Hi, so I'm a global studies minor, and I unfortunately fulfilled all my elective requirements, but I still need Global Studies 103. Do you know if I can petition to get that requirement filled through this, or no? Typically no.
Unfortunately not. They're completely different classes. So because 103 is a core class, it's going to be, yeah, you can petition 102, 103, or 104.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Maria.
And then we have Anna, if you'd like to ask your question.
Hi, I had a question about the London location specifically. So do you know where in London it would be in particular?
Where the housing would be, or?
Yeah, the housing.
So they have housing that's, I can get, if you want to send me an email, I can get back to you specifically on it.
Okay.
It's quite central, and I want to say, I'm forgetting the name of the square. I want to say Bedford Square, but that might be totally wrong. So send me an email and I can give you the exact information. To be honest, I know it is very central to London, so you're not going to be on the outskirts in the suburbs or anything like that. You'll be close to the tube. London specifically has a really great metro system, and so most likely you'll probably be using the tube to get to work, unless your internship happens to be really, really close. But just send me an email. I'll put that in the chat so everyone has that as well, and that way I can get back in touch with you and give you the correct information.
If we were like able to have our own housing accommodations located there, would we be able to like use that and then avoid the fee for housing, or is it necessary to use the ones under the International Institute?
So unfortunately not. So you would have to be in our housing that we
Okay.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
no worries. All right, Hui, I'm going to unmute you.
Hello, I have a questions regarding to the applications.
Mhm.
And so the question is, so under the applications, they ask what was your GPA for the most recent term you complete and what term is it? If I'm a transfer student, then am I supposed to put my GPA from my community college or?
Yeah, you can put your GPA from your community college on there. And then we'll see in the application process that you're a transfer student. So this program, we highly encourage transfer students to apply to. So don't let that be any reason not to apply. Obviously, you'll get a GPA, once you start at UCLA. And so always ask that you keep a 3-point, while you're here at UCLA. But we understand at this point you don't have one yet. So just put down your most recent term at community college.
All right, thank you.
Mhm. We have one question about the session, about whether it's recorded or not. We did record the session, so I'll post it to the IEO website. And so when you go, I'll put on the chat right now our website address, and there I'll post it probably in a couple of days. And then I'll eventually do some subtitles, but it'll take a little bit of time. But I'll have that posted there within a day or two. Okay, there we go. Any other questions? All right. Well, if you have other questions.
Andrew, there is a question I see about time zones. I think it's in the chat. The student is asking if they will be working in local time zones or host country zones.
So for the virtual internships, great question. So you will work just in the local time zone that you're here in the U.S. Or let's say if you live elsewhere outside of LA, wherever you're personally located, you'll work out of that time zone. That said, there may be, or most likely will be, a time that you will be asked to have, meetings with your work colleagues. And so, even in cases where the time zones are quite different, usually there's going to be a reasonable time that you can meet up, and have work meetings with your manager. So you won't be asked to work from like 2 a.m. to 12 a.m. or something and do a night shift, anything like that. You'll work, within your own home time zone, but you will be asked to, have some sort of contact with your manager, obviously, throughout the week. And so those, they'll find a reasonable time for you to meet. So for some students, it might be the morning. For some, it might be the evening, depending on, the time zone that the host country is in. But yeah, you'll be working in your local time zone. And that will also, again, makes it more flexible. So I think with those, it's very project oriented. So you'll have some sort of projects that you'll be working on. There'll be, ways to communicate, with your superiors there, with the management team. So, some might use something like Slack or other different communication, methods. So yeah. All right. Any last minute questions? Okay. Well, thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate it. Really excited about this program, and really hope that can be a great experience for you to get some practical, work experience in your career fields. And to also make some progress toward your academic requirements. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to send me an email. I posted it in the chat. Otherwise, looking forward to hopefully speaking with you all as if you apply for the program. So have a great evening, everyone. Thanks again for joining us.